In this tutorial, we will implement the infinite scroll functionality for our Django and React.js project, and it will look like this. The source code will be available on my Instagram, so I hope to see you guys over there. And now, without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so before we actually start to code, I just want to mention that we will use the API created in the previous video on how to perform a live search in Django and React.js. So if you haven't seen this video, the link is in the description below. And right now, let's take a look at the settings PY, because over here we have one minor change, and this is the REST Framework global settings, where we specified the pagination class as page number pagination and the page size as 9. So what this basically means that we have page number pagination, so we can see all the numbers over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've added some new posts to our project, and each page contains up to 9 items. Okay, so you can see that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if we want to see more posts, we need to go to page number 2, and we have over here 10, 11, 12, 13, and up to 18, okay? And the same is for 3, also 9 pages, and the only difference is 4, where we see the rest of our items, so in this case, 3. Okay, so hopefully this is understandable. Alright, so now we can focus on the front-end part. So you can create a new React project using npx create React app and name it frontend. And then we need to go to React infinite scroll component package page and grab this comment npm I React infinite scroll component. So with this comment, we are going to install this package that we will be using for this tutorial purposes. And we need to go to the terminal with the development server from running and run this particular command and run the development server again in order for this to work. I've already done it, so I'm going to skip it and go directly to the React project into the app.js component, where I'm going to clear most of the contents. I'm just going to keep this parent div with the class name app, and I'm going to delete the logo. All right, so we are going to have this main component app, which will be nesting a post list component. And in this post list component, we are going to fetch the data, and this data will be displayed in a separate component post item. So if we go to src and create a new directory called components, we can inside of this folder create a post list JS and a post item JS file. Okay, so let's begin with the post item, because it's very simple component, and I'm just going to copy and paste it. So let me do it very quickly. And there it is. So as mentioned before, this is a very simple component which takes in the title as props. So basically the title is being passed to this post item. And if we take a look at our API, we have basically two fields, ID and title, and the title is what we are passing. Okay, so we will be grabbing the records in the post list, and then to the post item we are going to pass only the title. And then we are returning a parent div with some styling, and we have a border with the 1 pixel thickness, and it's a gray color with border radius, padding, and some margin. And then inside of it we are nesting a paragraph with the title that is being passed, and that is basically it. So I'm going to save it, and now I'm going to create the post list component. Okay, and this one will be a little bit more difficult, because we are going to be using the infinite scroll component over here in this particular place. So first of all, what I'm going to do is to actually grab the fetch data function that has been created in the previous tutorial, because I don't want to go through it again in order to save some time. And I'm just going to explain one adjustment. Over here, the code is pretty much the same except for the endpoint and except for the final result. So in the final result, we are destructuring results and count from the response. And what it is if we take a look at the API, we have some information over here about the count, and this is the count over here. And the results are in fact the data, all right? The results are the posts that are being accessed on a particular page. So in this case, page 1, if we go to page 2, we will fetch those posts, okay? And over here we have the page number. And this page number will need to be set in, and we will do this in just a second. So we can actually begin creating our state from this page. So initially it will be set to 1. First of all, we want to set, we would like to grab the data from page number 1. So let's create the state for the page. We will have page and set page. So initially, as mentioned before, the number will be 1. And with the set page, we will update this value. Apart from page, we will also need a state for keeping the data. So I'm going to create another state. I'm going to call it post data and set post data to update the value. And initially we will have an empty array. And there is one more that is required for the infinite scroll component, and it is if it's a Boolean value to see if there are more posts to load. So we will have has more, meaning if there are any more posts to load, and set as more, like this. And initially it's going to be true. So we will also need for later the page limit. So I'm going to place it right now very quickly. So basically what this means is how many items we are displaying in a page. And in our case, it is 9. And right now we can see if this fetch data actually works. So with the use of the use effect hook, let's run this fetch data function. So I explained what use effect does in the previous video, so I'm going to skip it in this one. And let's grab fetch data, let's save this, and let's actually nest this post list in the app.js. So I'm going to put it over here, post list with the auto import, and let's save this, and let's see if it works. We need to open the development tools and go to the console. So right now we don't see anything, and that's actually good because we don't see also any errors. And what I'm going to do is to go to our fetch data function, and I'm actually going to console log the results. All right, and there it is. We have 9 items. So we have the first page listed out over here. You can compare. Test post 1, 2, 3, hello world, crypto bloodbath, and then test 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's go to page 1, and there it is, test post 1, hello world, crypto bloodbath, and so on. Okay, so this is for the first page. However, we need a functionality where we will add posts. So if we want to change the page, load more posts, if we want to load more posts, we will upload the second page. But we don't want to reset the first page. We just want to add the second page to the first place. So in order to do this, we can't set the data, we can't set the post data as results. We need to create concatenated data. So as mentioned before, if we go to page number 2, if we scroll and we upload page number 2, we are going to add the page number 2 to page number 1. And then if we go to page number 3, we are going to add page number 3 to page number 1 and page number 2. Okay, so in order to do this, I'm going to delete this console log and I'm going to create a new one called data. And over here, we are going to create a copy of our current post data with the use of spread operator. And we are going to concat the results like this. And then what we are going to do is to set post data as data like this. All right. So having this set, we can actually try to bring in the infinite scroll component. We can cut it and put it in our return statement. And over here, we need to specify a few properties. So I'm going to begin with data length. And this is going to be the current data length of our post data. So post data length. And this basically shows how many posts are currently visible, how many posts we currently have loaded. Okay, so knowing this, we will go to the next line where we need to specify the next. And this is going to be a function that uploads the next page. So over here, I'm just going to set the page as page plus 1, just like this. And this won't work yet because in the use effect, we need to specify a dependency. In the dependency array, we are adding a page. So basically, this fetch data will run every time the page changes, all right? And this will give us an upload of new data if there are new data. So has more is equal to, and then has more. So we still need to specify at what point we are going to set the has more in our state to false. So this is yet to come. And then we can also specify the loader. And here I'm just going to place a h4 and I'm going to place loading like this. All right. So as mentioned before, we can take a look at the has more, or let's save this and see if this is working, and then we will return to finish this. Okay, so right now we have loading, and this is basically because we forgot to place something inside of this infinite scroll component. And to be more precise, over here we need to loop through the post data. So post data map, and then we are going to take a single post and put it into a post item. So again, I'm going to do an auto import, and here is my post item. So as mentioned over here, we need the title, but before, let's place in the key. This is going to be LID, and the title, let's set to L title. Okay, so now let's save this. And as you can see, we have the posts. However, we have some issues. So let's reload it, and we have page not found because we are trying to get the page 5. I hope you can see it. Page 5. So let's see if you can see that the scroll is being minimized. But in order to see the scrolling effect, I'm just going to do a very simple trick over here. I'm going to copy the fetch data, and I'm going to place in a set timeout. So I want to delay running the fetch data by, let's say, 2 seconds, something like this. All right, we have loading, then we scroll, we have loading, okay? We have loading and loading, and then we will get an error. Okay, so over here, it's very important to set this has more to false once there are no more posts to load, no more pages. So going to our fetch data function, somewhere above the set post data, we can place a condition. If our post data length is actually not only post data length, you need to add the page limit. Okay, so we have the page limit over here plus page limit. I'm going to explain this in just a second. Page limit. Okay, if this is greater or equal the count that we get from our response over here, then we are setting has more, so we've set has more to false. So basically, if we have a situation that initially for the first page this is 0, and then we have the page limit to 9, so we have 0 plus 9, and the total amount of posts in our case is 30. This condition is obviously false. This is for the first page. So then we go to the second page. We now have 9 plus 9, and we are checking if 18 is greater than 30. This is also not true, so we skip this condition. And then we have 18 plus 9 also true, also false, sorry. And then finally we have 27 plus 9 is greater than 30, so we are setting it over here as set has more to false. So this hopefully will do the trick. I'm going to save this and let's check it out. I'm going to refresh it, refresh the page. We have this 2 seconds. Okay, no error so far. And there it is. So this time we didn't get any error. Everything is working fine. We can console log over here, finish. Let's save this, and I'm going to hit refresh. And we have finish over here. All right, guys, so at the very end, I just want to address some improvements, and let's do it very quickly. So let's begin with the React part. Over here in the infinite scroll component, we have a next property where we are having our function for setting the page. So over here we are updating our page, and we are doing it directly by taking the page and adding one. However, in React, setting state is async, so we should do it with the use of pref state to always get the proper value. So pref state, and then we are going to now take the pref state. So pref state in this case represents our page, and we are going to add to the pref state 1. And with this we can be sure that we are updating the state properly, because over here, as mentioned before, our state is very much dependent on the previous one. Okay, so this is it. We can also go to our index.js where we have React strict mode. And what I'm going to do in my app.js is to simply display a console log hello world. Now I'm going to save it, and I'm just going to hit refresh. And as you can see, we see it twice. So it's being loaded twice. And if we go to this index.js and remove the React strict mode, we won't have this problem. So as you can see right now, we have only one hello world. And finally, if we go to the post list and we switch the pages, and then if we go to the terminal, we will see somewhere that we have some issues with the unordered object list. So this is just a warning. However, to get rid of it, we can go to the models, and below the string representation method, we can set a class meta and specify the ordering over here, and we will set it by ID like this. And this should solve the issue. Okay, so we can play around over here, and we shouldn't have no more kind of warning like over here. All right, so I think we can finish off over here. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and wish you a great day. Take care and bye bye.